Interaction. Canada Sportsbook.
Hello, hockey fans, and welcome to Game Over Vancouver. I'm your host, Clay Emo Canuck Clay, here on YouTube and on Twitter. And we have an exciting game to talk about. Actually, maybe the game itself wasn't exciting, but everything around this Vancouver Canucks game was quite exciting. Whether it was the tribute to the legendary Gino Ojic, or it was the brand new, now permanent, new third jerseys for the team. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's get to it. So once again, welcome to Game Over Vancouver. As we get started, why don't you subscribe to the SDPN YouTube channel, the Steve Dangle Podcast Network, right here. Hit the subscribe button, like the video as well, like the fact that we can talk about such an eventful night at Rogers Arena. While you're doing that, you can also subscribe to me, Canuck Clay, both here on YouTube and on Twitter. And as well, while you're doing that, if you're listening on a podcast platform, maybe the next day or later tonight or whenever you are, I appreciate you as well. Make sure you rate and review. So the Canucks lose 5-2. A lot going on. I have a wonderful guest that's going to help me break it down. But before we do that, a word from our sponsor.
Think you know what way it's going to go? Make your bet with Sports Interaction. Whether it's hockey, football, or basketball, Sports Interaction has you covered. Bet pregame, live and play, or in one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all that sports betting has to offer. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Steve Dangle Podcast Network. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus, please play responsibly.
I love how that's pre-recorded. I don't have to say that every single show now. So yes, Game Over Vancouver. I am thrilled to be joined by someone who I literally met half an hour ago, but I feel like we're best friends already. He is the number one detective. He is the one who cracked the case of the skate. So please welcome my friends, Mr. Trent Leith. Hello, Trent.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining me, man. Especially, you get this random text from a guy this morning saying, hey, you want to be on my show tonight? So thanks for doing this on short notice.
Yeah, no problem.
As we get going, bro, why don't you tell everyone a little bit quickly about you and where they can find your writing and your tweeting and everything.
So I tweet a lot, too much, at TrentL14, and I created and write for a website with my buddy Braden, stadiumchinatown.ca. We put out usually about 3 articles a week there. That's really it.
That's awesome. And then for people that aren't from this area of Vancouver, because we are across the country, we're across the globe, quickly explain what Stadium Chinatown means. What's the relevance?
Yeah, that's fair. Stadium Chinatown is the SkyTrain station, or like our public transit station that stops right outside Rogers Arena. So fans in the area synonymize the Canucks with Stadium Chinatown. Awesome. And that's where we got our name.
Great. And you and Braden do some great writing, and you do some out of the box stuff. I think you did a whole article asking Chat GPT for some advice. That was pretty funny. So make sure you check it out. Stadiumchinatown.ca, correct?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, that is awesome. Let's spend a few minutes talking about the game, because there was certainly a hockey game. I know I brought you on especially for a lot of the extracurricular, but full disclosure, I did not see this game, the first two periods, as much as I wanted to be there. Wednesday night, my church duties, running religious ed classes. So I said, Trent, you better watch this game and be able to fill us in. So tell me in a nutshell, how did we get down 4-0?
Spencer Martin just had an off night. Yeah. That's really all it was. And the Canucks defense being the Canucks defense. But it was, for the majority of the game, actually, the Canucks were the better team as far as Corsi and shots. Shots were 52-29 or 39-25. Anyway.
39-25 sounds right. Yes.
Yeah. It was the Canucks were the stronger team in everywhere but the crease tonight. And really, that's the story. And we got a bad performance, got off on the wrong foot. And on the other end of the ice, we got goalied. Brian Elliott was insane.
So my son, Sean, was at the game representing the Emo family, Trent, and I'm going to read you his summary, and you tell me if you agree or disagree with this. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do it.
First period started strong, rolling front two lines hard. Tampa scores first goal somewhat against flow of play. Easy tap in for Stamkos, probably easiest of his career. From there, they capitalize on high danger chances, and we never could. Elliott looks outstanding. Their passing is too good, and they seem to score at will. Defense just broke down. Can't really blame Martin for 4 goals and 10 shots, but you have to pull him. Kuzmenko, the only notable Canuck for me. Is that a fair assessment?
I would say it is, but Tampa had only 30% of the high danger scoring chances in the first period. So there is some blame to be laid at Martin's feet here, but you have to remember he's a backup goaltender. But according to Natural Stat Trick, the Canucks did have 70% of the high danger chances in that first period.
Well, if Sean is anything like his old man, we are not that big on analytics. So I'm really glad that you brought that to the table, Trent. Yes, and I did. Unfortunately, of course, I couldn't watch the whole 2 periods before coming on here. So I watched the third, but I did see a collision with Bear, I guess, that made an easy 2-on-1 on Stamkos' first goal. Kucherov's, that was impossible to stop. I didn't like the third goal because Martin seemed to let out a really soft rebound to point, and then the fourth one, really passive defense and allowing Stamkos to just skate through the crease. So I saw those 4. So tell me about the Canucks' chances, or was there anything that you remember from the first period?
I don't remember any particular chances in general. There was actually one comes to mind. I can't remember who was involved in the play, but it was a beautiful, like, in front of the net tip-in redirect that just Elliott, right place, right time, glove in the right spot. Like 9 times out of 10 would have been a goal, but he was just on fire tonight.
Okay.
But yeah, like if we had just had a little bit more luck in those first few goals against on Martin, the Canucks were in this the whole time.
Yeah.
It looks more lopsided than I think it really was.
Yeah, you're right. The shots 39-25. We actually scored 2 power play goals. Granted, they were late, but still. And then we out hit them. We got outblocked pretty badly. But yeah, you see a lot of the hustle stats. We did okay. So a scoreless second period. Trent, this was my son Sean's report. Nothing too excited in the second. Had another 12 shots, but Elliott looks too locked in. Power play doesn't look very dangerous. Fans starting to get antsy. Could get ugly in the third, but then someone did win a car during the second intermission. So tell me about that. Is that assessment fair?
Yeah, I would say, like, again, all the stats say the Canucks were the better team in that period, but it resulted to no goals. It was a pretty boring period through and through. But yeah, I saw the video of the intermission guy on his third shot shoots and wins like a hybrid Toyota or something like that. Just crazy.
Good. Yeah.
I saw a lot of jokes saying, like, is this guy, can we get him on contract?
Yeah, we might not have a lot of salary to give him, but maybe we could squeeze him in. So third
period would be an ELC.
Trent, do you think that score effects Tampa Bay led up, the rest were helped a little, Canucks were helped a little bit by the rest, or do you think they actually continued to carry play in the third as well, leading to those 2 goals?
I think, again, like, they just, on paper, they were the stronger team. And we finally got a goal from Hughes. I think I heard on the broadcast he went 200 games exactly between power play goals, which is insane. Yeah. But it's just that it's about time he got that monkey off of his back. But yeah, like the Canucks were in it the whole time, minus those 4 goals in the first period. If you played Colin Delia the whole game, he didn't let in a single goal. It would have been a 2-0 Canucks game if he could get through those first few minutes.
Yeah, it's funny. Delia's got a winning record, and he seems, everyone thought that Martin wasn't going to supplant Demko, but he was playing better than Demko to start the year. And now Delia's been playing better than Martin. It's kind of strange how that works.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny. I think, and Vancouver loves a backup goaltender.
Yeah. Like,
it was always Schneider. Is he better than Luongo? Is it Nielsen better than Markstrom? Is it Demko better than Markstrom? Yeah. We love a backup story.
I hear what you're saying. Okay, so and then of course Stamkos gets the empty netter. It's crazy the stat they showed, like, of 8 guys that have scored their 500th goal in a game. In that game they get a hat trick, which I guess intuitively makes sense because that's why these guys get 500 goals. They're really good goal scorers. Do you like Stamkos as a player? Were you happy for him, Trent?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he's a little bit underrated in, like, Crosby and McDavid's shadow a little bit. But I don't know if I heard this right. We might have to fact check this, but I thought I heard them say on the broadcast that of the other 7 players that scored their 500th goal with a hat trick, they were all 497 to 500. Stamkos is the only one to go 500, 501, 502, if I heard that right, which is kind of crazy.
That is a fascinating stat. So everyone else enters at 497. Stamkos enters at 499. Now we just got to find a guy who enters at 498.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a cool stat. And then, so I think we've done a pretty good job because I do want to. I'm not rushing, but I do want to get to the case. So, Vancouver controls the play, but Tampa scored when they needed to. Martin wasn't sharp, and then Stamkos hits his 500th, 501st, and 502nd goal, which is a great story for him. And yes, a very underrated yet celebrated player, if you can think of it that way. And the one last thing I'll talk about before we talk about Free the Skate is, of course, the Canucks honored legend Gino Ojic. I've been vlogging about him a lot the last couple of days, and I think it was a really nice tribute. They're also going to honor him even more when they celebrate First Nations Indigenous peoples that night in March. But of course, this happened just on Sunday. And we can talk about this, if the Canucks were planning to do Free the Skate today anyways, it was almost a fitting way to launch into it. Almost, I don't want to steal your thunder, but almost not as forced. Actually, I thought it was a good way to have all, his 12 former teammates, or 10 or 12, come out for the ceremonial puck drop. And I thought it was, I don't know about you, Trent, I thought it was classy. I thought it was well done. And considering they only had 3 days to do it, they didn't overdo it, but I'm sure they'll find other ways to honor Gino as the next month and a half goes on.
I thought that was really cool. And like you said, it was the perfect way to just slip the flying skate in. They were already wearing the warm-up equipment and everything. It looked good, felt good. Right. It was nice to see. Yes, it'll be cool to see a proper video and everything when they have some time to put it together.
Yep, I agree with that. And I wasn't at the game. Obviously, you weren't either. My son Sean was, and he said that they had video tributes, messages from guys like Pavel Bure, former teammates, going throughout the night. So that's kudos to Canucks presentation staff, game presentation, for doing all of that. Okay, so we've wrapped up the game. We've talked about Steven Stamkos. We've done a quick tribute to Gino. I think I want to get to, for the second segment, what I brought you on for, what everyone here is waiting for, and that is an interview with the lead detective. And I kind of joke about that, but I'll explain why to everyone in a second. We're going to take a quick pause, a 2-second pause, so before we head into the next segment. Okay, so the reason why I was so excited to get Trent, you guys, is I'm going to let him tell the story. I had an inkling that, and you can probably tell, Trent, the way we were interacting on Twitter and stuff, I had an inkling that this was going to happen, but my research, my suspicions were nowhere close to what Trent came up with. And I will say, I'm not sucking up. I don't need to suck up. You're already on the show. It was brilliant, man. I give you full props, and I'm so excited to hear this. So I'm gonna try not to interrupt. I might interject because I'm so darn excited. But walk us through this basically 4-month investigation by Detective Leith.
So what happened was, it was late October, and I was thinking about that promotional video that they did. It was like Mission Impossible style. They were talking about something back east that the Canucks needed to acquire, and it was just as much manifestation as anything. But I was like, what if what they need to go and get is the flying skate? So I started to look at it a little bit, and Kobe Schmolders in the video, she puts down a hockey card, and much like Star Wars, out of R2-D2, you have like the beam of light holograph show up, and it comes out of the flying skate. So I was like, fishy. So I started looking, and she was saying, that's when she mentioned, like, our target is back east. So I was on the Hockey Hall of Fame's website, and I was looking at it, and it was saying that its quote here is, they have a room with all like the jerseys and stuff, I guess. And it says, presenting franchise histories, making up some of the most memorable fashion statements throughout the years. And I was like, well, flying skate is kind of like a favorite around the league, not just in Vancouver. So I started to piece that together. And then she was saying, like, if you don't want to fly under the radar anymore or be underestimated. Well, I remembered then that a part of the reason they switched from the original blue, green, and white was because sports psychologists were saying these black, yellow, and red colors are more aggressive, more intimidating to me, that seems like a way to not fly under the radar or be underestimated. It was just all these little things like that. And then it was the fact that it was part one and it felt very much like a trailer for a movie. So I was like, what is going to be part two? Like, what is this thing? So then again, it was just as much manifestation as anything, but I wanted it to be the flying skate. Now, obviously the video didn't come up tonight, but since October until now, there was all these little Easter eggs that kept popping up.
Okay, and before we get to those Easter eggs, Trent, so you're saying already from that opening night video, part one, Kobe Smulders, the mission, acquiring the target, you saw 5 or 6 hints in there already. Back east, fashion, Hockey Hall of Fame, light coming out from the skate, all these things.
Yeah. And again, maybe I was just looking for it. I'm not sure. Because I've had off the record people tell me that wasn't the target they were acquiring. They had, I can't say what it was supposed to be, but they have to pivot now.
Wow.
But so I was wrong with that. But as I kept like looking out, trying to like prove my own theory, I kind of noticed all these little things leading up to the flying skate tonight.
Love it.
And
let's hear some of them.
Yeah. So there was the one that I like the most is, do you remember, so you know the board ads, they're all glitchy and weird and strange. There was one night, or maybe it was a couple nights, where they glitched and they just went black. It was just a black bar. And on the bottom of the boards, you have your red strip, and on the top, you have the yellow, or vice versa. Yep. And so it just looked like the flying skate, but it didn't look like a depthless, flat black. Like it looked intentional. And again, I'm looking for these things, so I'm like, that's a little fishy. Well, I've had people on Reddit that say they're in the know. It's with a grain of salt, but people have said they know people working at Rogers, and that was intentional. Like that was a flying skate hit. Yeah. And then there's been the billboards and the bus stop ads that have popped up. The plane banner flying it. Like the Canucks were behind this the whole way. And then there were some practices where they were wearing black gear. And when the media asked about it, they were told like, oh, no, it's just for charity. But it seems weird you would auction off practice worn gear at a charity, not game worn gear.
Yep.
Just all sorts of little things like that. And then at a certain point, it just became kind of fun to look for these things. So every time I was on Twitter and just saw a jersey leak, or somebody pointed out like, hey, his gloves are black in the back of this photo, then my mind is like, add it to the thread.
By the way, Trent, I love the comment in the chat from Kaya May, one of the two other co-hosts, me, Kaya, and Sam. And Kaya says the target out east was actually Hito, Lundqvist, and a first. A wonderful callback to the potential Rangers trade for JT Miller that was rejected. That was very good, Kaya. Full props.
That's way better.
Okay, so another one mentioned Ali in her Botchford Project article said
yes.
Got a quote from Horvat, right?
Yeah, so we kind of assumed there was going to be a second part of the video coming, and we still don't know what it is or when it's coming.
You know, I think they showed it tonight.
Oh, did they?
But they haven't put it on social or anything, maybe because they didn't want to take away from the Geno thing. So yeah, after we're done, we'll do our research. I think they may have shown it tonight. Yes.
Okay, I know there was a video, but I didn't see this second part of this promo.
Sure.
It was weird. They Sportsnet cut to an ad when they did the jersey reveal.
Oh.
And like after all this, I'm so excited, and I didn't even get to see it. But if the second part of this video is still to come out, Horvat was quoted, I don't have the quote right in front of me, but it was something along the lines of, there's still more to come. Like he's got a couple lines that weren't in the video. There were some whole scenes that guys did that haven't been seen yet. And again, I'm looking for these things. I think Cody Severson found that before I did and sent it to me. And then of course I have to add it to the thread. And when I wrote my article, I put it in there too.
No, it's awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
You know, I've been refreshing your thread constantly for the past week. Now, we made it this far. So we've talked about the video, billboard, flying a plane, glitches on the ads. We've talked about wearing practice gear, interviews. Why don't you tell us a bit about these jersey leaks now that have been popping up as well?
Yeah, so Aesthetics on Twitter. They're really good with jersey leaks, and they find all the All-Star jerseys and the reverse retros before anybody else. And they sent out a tweet that said, "Is this the calm before the jersey storm, the jersey reveal storm? Anticipating a lot of news next week or so." And then they inferred to the Coyotes, the Canucks, the Caps, Canes, Stadium Series, and the All-Star game.
Wow.
And the one with the Canucks, it had a little skate logo next to it. So then again, looking for it, I see it. It could have been anything, but I saw what I wanted to see. And then shortly after that, Lachlan Irvine, he found a leak, I believe, on Fanatics website of the new designed logo.
Yep.
Without the white trimming and stuff like that, and the new striping on the arms and body. And so that was right there. I was like, okay, I'm onto something. Something's happening. I just don't know when.
Yes.
And then as we got closer and closer to, I kind of narrowed in on tonight's game. There was, again, a guy on Reddit. He said he knows a guy who knows a guy that says it's going to be Wednesday. And I asked him how, and he gave me details. And then about a half hour later, all those comments were deleted. So I'm like, okay, he spoke out of turn. That's a good sign.
Actually, you worry he's not in trouble, but then, it's almost confirmation, correct?
Exactly. The fact that he went back and deleted it meant he said something he shouldn't have said.
That is awesome. And then I saw your tweets today, still following the story, even on their warm-up shorts, or warm-up pants. They had the new logo, correct?
Yeah, there was a picture of Horvat. I noticed he was wearing the Gino jerseys, which have the original flying skate with the white in the toe and the white lines.
Yeah.
And then I zoomed in on his pants leg, and there was the new logo, which, again, if you're not looking for something like that, if you're not a loser like I am, you're never going to notice it. But now, the second I saw a secondary logo in there, I was like zooming right in, screenshotting, sending it to all my buddies. Yeah.
That's why I certainly don't think you're a loser, but that is awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. So we put all this together, and we didn't even mention the not the plants, the fans at away games with the free the skate.
Yeah. I think it was in Raleigh at the Canes game. There was a fan that was following around the mascot with a free the skate sign, and then I think they were like ushered out by the mascot, like right out of the arena. I saw in a video.
Yeah.
And there was a home game a little while ago where there was a very professional looking sign. It was like if somebody professional tried to design a sign that wasn't professional, if you know what I mean.
Yep, I hear you.
And they got a lot of time on the Jumbotron, nice and clear, free the skate. So it was a bit of it's funny. This is the best executed plan this Canucks regime has had in years. Yeah,
hold that thought, because that's what I want to get to. So you've laid out brilliantly, Trent. That's why you're the number one detective on this case. I counted about 12 different instances, clues, exhibit A all the way to exhibit J, or whatever the 12th letter of the alphabet is. You've done such a good job. So now I have two fundamental questions for you. Number one, do you actually like it? And I want you to take as much detail as you want. Tell me why you don't like it or not like it. And number two, tell me a bit about this. If this is indeed a marketing ploy, and I want you to tell me if you thought it was effective, you didn't think it was effective. Do you like the fact they tried something like this? So both questions. Let's start with the jersey itself. Tell me what you think.
I might be going a little bit against the grain here, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the best way to bring something old into the modern era. We didn't lose the essence of the jersey. We've tidied it up. It looks a little bit cleaner. It's got the callback to the third jerseys last year with the similar striping. And I haven't seen it in person, but a lot of the photos I've seen on the arms in the yellow band, it looks like you have lines making up a flying V.
Yep.
So I think that's a really cool detail. On the inside cuff, there's like a mountain range.
Yeah, the mountain range, exactly.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really cool details. We saw it on the ice tonight. I thought it looked great. It looked crisper than the other ones. Yeah. It is a little strange and unfamiliar not seeing the white in the wording, but honestly, I think I like it.
And there's no white around the numbers too. It's kind of jarring when you first see it. It's like it's a video game or something.
Yeah, it looks different, but I think it's good. I think it's a modernization of something retro.
And by the way, you've heard what Trent said. I've always said since I saw the leak that I actually do like it as well. But we want to know in the chat. Start typing. Tell me what you think of this new jersey that we now know is going to be the Canucks. I think Al Murdoch said it on the PA. He says, please welcome the Canucks in their permanent, I don't know the words he used, but this is going to be the third jersey going forward. So let me know in the chat what you guys think of this jersey. Okay, so you like it. I like it. Two guys with, well, you have good taste. I don't know what I'm looking at half the time, but that's fine. Tell me about what you think about this whole, if it was indeed a marketing plan, tell me what you think. And do you think it was effective?
I do think it was effective. Like, I mean, maybe because I've created an echo chamber for myself, but that was all I saw on Twitter for weeks was like speculation about this jersey. So to me, very effective. Yeah. It was awesome. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I thought I liked it. It was a unique approach to things. What I'm kind of thinking is we might want to take those people in marketing and stick them in hockey ops because they had a plan, they stuck to it, they achieved it. And I mean, with the way the regime is right now, there isn't a lot of that, at least publicly. So these people, whoever was in charge of this, they got it done. And I liked the vision through and through.
I love that. That's pretty funny. Yeah. So replacing the hockey ops with the marketing people, I know there's going to be some people that might say, oh, they just did this to mask that they're not doing so well, or the mess from Monday's press conference. But this campaign, you can tell it didn't happen in the last 2 weeks. This has been a well thought out, drawn out, strategic play. So if they were planning this back in the off season, they had no clue what was going to happen this season. So I think that's kind of, I can see why a cynic might think that, but I truly don't believe that. I think if this was indeed a strategic thing by the Canucks, that this has been a long play, a long game for sure. And you can't control what's happened on the ice for the past 3 weeks or 3 months.
Yeah, I agree. And in the NHL, you can't just change a jersey. Like you need to run it past the NHL. There's a lot of bureaucracy involved. You need to get, as far as I'm aware, you need to get Adidas involved to make sure they can make the jersey. Like these things hit shelves. It's not like they made 25 of these for the players and that's that. Like they've made hundreds, if not thousands of these already. Yeah. Like this has been in the works for a long time. I think it just comes at a very suspicious time. Maybe they bumped the timeline on it or something, right. But this has been in the works forever.
It's funny when you say that
jersey this year.
Yeah, exactly. When you say how many people are involved, everyone from the person who puts it up on a website, presses a button, to the person designing. I'm actually surprised that, or maybe that's why these things get leaked, but maybe I'm kind of surprised that there weren't more leaks almost then.
Most of the actual leaks and mistakes that happened were all within the last week or two. Like this is kept under wraps the entire time, at least publicly. I'm sure there's people around the team that knew, that kept it hush hush, but yeah, outwardly, just some guy on the internet, it was very, very tightly buttoned up until about last week, just like the Coyotes ones.
Yeah, that's true. That came out too. I love this comment from Bruce. Love it. We Canucks fans are so thirsty for a plan, even a marketing plan. So thirsty.
He's right. I'm on here. I'm going to make another prediction too.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
It's just a hunch and I haven't looked into it yet, but this is my next pet project. Is I think that if these jerseys are received well enough, I think within the next 2 years, they're going to be primary jerseys.
Wow. That's a hot take.
I was talking to somebody about this recently. I think it was Braden actually. Anyway, you can't just change a logo and color scheme and stuff like that overnight. There's an investment into changing all the decals around the building, all the unsold merchandise, everything. I think we're going to start to see a push of more black, yellow, and red and less of the green, blue, and white. And I think in the next couple of years when they phased out some stuff, I bet you we're going to get an announcement of the Flying Skate full time. Just a hunch. I'm going to have to look into it. And keep my finger on that pulse because I need something to do now.
Well, I love your hunches. Your hunches are pretty good. Do you think that Aquilini ownership, would they be more open to getting away from the Orca or more open to getting away from blue, green, white, or equally?
I think probably equally.
Yeah.
Like I've seen some cool mock-ups of the flying skate in the current colors, but there's just something so much better about the black, red, and yellow.
Right.
Like it's not even so much the logo. Like I love the logo, but watching the team, like I just love those colors. They just look so much better. So I think now that we have the Abbotsford Canucks wearing the current Canucks colors, the Canucks are that color in Abbotsford, the Canucks are this color in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So during the course of your investigation, Trent, I feel like I'm interviewing you for like Dateline or something. What was the moment where you said, "Oh, I'm on this. This is for real. This is true."
I think I kind of forgot about it for a little while, and then it was when the banner flew and nobody took credit for it, because usually the people that fly the banner are very vocal about the fact that they flew a banner. And no one claimed it. And then I was like, well, hang on. And that's when I started to think about the fan plants and the weird boards glitching out. And then that's when I was like, something's up. Somebody paid for this. Who paid for it?
Now, I'm curious, Trent, did anyone from the club reach out, either say, good job, you got us, or stop doing this? Or did you hear from anyone from an official standpoint?
No, I didn't. Like I said, I got some off the record stuff, but nobody from the club. And I was like, I even like tagged them in on it on Twitter to be like, I'm on to you. I see you. But no, I was never acknowledged. Which, I mean, as soon as they acknowledge me, it ruins the whole marketing campaign too. You can't be like, who's doing this? Who's flying all this? Right. And then on the side being like, I did it. It's me. Shut up.
That is great. Oh, Trent, there's so much good stuff there. We have a few more minutes. So in the chat, let's, if you have any questions for Trent or me, of course, as the host, about tonight's game, about the jersey, about the way they honored Gino, about Steven Stamkos. Let's do, we have a Trent for another 5 or 6 minutes. Let's get some questions in the chat. And while we're doing that, while people are typing stuff out, Trent, once again, can you drop your Twitter handle and the handle of your blog as well?
Yeah, so on Twitter, I'm at TrentL14, and our website's page is at STDM Chinatown. Or
awesome.
if you just look up Stadium Chinatown, other than we're not the TransLink, we're the other guys.
Okay,
so.
Awesome. So Trent Leith and Stadium Chinatown. Just incredible. A longtime supporter of me and this channel says, the skate is freed, now free the tank.
Yeah, well, as far as Rutherford knows, like he thought we were tanking. So
yeah, that was interesting.
One thing I want to mention too is games like today and the road trip minus Carolina is like the best tanking hockey you could watch. Like they're high scoring, nail biters right down to the last moment, and then they lose. It's perfect.
Yeah. If you're some, and we know the stats, we know that they're closer to the bottom of the league and increasing their lottery chances than they are with another loss, falling further away from any hopes of a wild card spot. And with the top end of the draft, not just Bedard, but the other 5 or 6 guys. Yes, this is, and Rutherford, you're right, Trent. He basically acknowledged as much that this is the one year where it might make sense to do it for sure. What do you think of Rutherford's press conference overall, by the way?
I didn't get to see a lot of it because I was at work at the time, but I caught the highlights, like the whole we're not rebuilding, we're retooling. It just seemed like the same old for the most part.
Right.
I kind of get it. Like with a guy like Pettersson and Hughes, like you don't want to tear it down entirely, but just I think the word retool is a bit of a trigger word in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do like 90% rebuild, like everyone but Pettersson and Hughes. But I guess that's GM speak for a retool. So.
And you forget about the fan base in general. You yourself, as Trent Leith, are you patient enough for a true rebuild?
I have been patient enough to watch hockey since 2013 to now. I'm certainly patient enough to watch a team with a plan for a little bit.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. So here's a thought from Bruce. The jersey looks sharp. It's the nostalgia for us older guys. He's talking about me and him because we're the same age. And that remember the 94 finals finally. I would imagine sales would be red hot if the Canucks were winning. And yeah, and that's the other, just imagine. So the reason why this story is so fascinating, Trent, as well, is not only the work you put in and the kind of breadcrumbs, but the fact that unfortunately that Gino passed away, but it almost made it feel like a right. I don't want to say forced, that it would have been forced, but it certainly was less forced, as we talked about off the top of the show, that it was almost an appropriate way to honor Gino. And yeah, imagine, regardless of Gino, imagine if the Canucks were winning, just maybe the mentality of how these are received even better. Like I think reception, now that people have seen them on the ice, despite the result, I think people are okay with it, but I think they're even, now that they've seen them and not a leak from fanatics, I think more and more people kind of get on our side and start to like them. What do you think?
I think so too. And I think like if there was less apathy in the market right now, I don't think I would have been the only guy I don't think I would have been the first guy to figure this out or put this all together.
Right.
Like, I think if people were like watching super intently, like I have a website that covers the team. I have to watch most of the games. Like I need to know everything that's going on. But if I was just a casual fan, like I probably wouldn't have noted J-Pat's tweet where they're all wearing black gloves and like black helmets.
Right.
You know, like if everyone was watching as intently as I was, everyone else would have spotted it just as easily. But based on kind of what I know about that promotional video and everything, I think everyone in the Canucks organization was expecting the team to be pushing for a playoff spot. And I think if we were right in the playoff hunt right now, how much more exciting would this jersey reveal be today?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. There would have been so much more hype. There would have been lineups out the door to try and get a hat or a jersey. But right now people are mad at ownership and they don't want to give them any money. So they don't want to rush out and buy jerseys right now.
That's a really good point. Or you can do what my son Sean did, and apparently he got a prize for the first time. It's one of those shirts that fell from the rafters, fell right right into his lap today, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. I've always wanted to win one of those, but never even got a whiff of it.
One last thing, I love what you're talking about. How psychologically black, red, yellow, those are intimidating colors. So if you saw the posters, the imagery that came out today. It's Horvat, it's Petey and Miller, and they're not smiling. They're not yucking it up. They're actually, I hope they're not sad because of the season. They have that kind of more intimidating, menacing look. So maybe that's kind of speaks to what you're talking about too. Yeah,
and I think it was the Sabres recently were wearing some of their throwback jerseys, and they're like black and red. And Dolan was quoted saying something along the lines of, "We just feel evil in them." And like, you don't want to be a nice hockey team. You know what I mean? Like hockey's a physical, violent sport. Like you kind of want to lean into that. You don't want to be looked at as the soft team.
Right.
So may as well not dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
And that's a perfect way to end that point from a standpoint of, and Gino kind of epitomized that. It wasn't easy to play against, stood up for his teammates and made it a tough night for his opponents. Every night. Trent, the Zoom countdown is going to boot us off in about 30 seconds. So I really want to thank you for coming on short notice and articulating your passion and your sleuthing so well. And I look forward to continuing our conversations on Twitter. So once again, thank you for joining us, Trent. And I can't wait to see what case you crack next.
Thank you. This was a blast. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk soon. Thanks again, Trent. Wow, good timing. That's like the second time that the Zoom call, my 40-minute free Zoom, ended right as we were finishing. So hopefully you guys heard him say goodbye. I didn't want to look like I was kind of ushering him out. So very, very grateful for Trent Leith for joining me tonight. And once again, if you want to follow him on socials, his Twitter handle is tleith14. Yes. No, sorry, Trent L14. I had it backwards. So it's Trent L14 on Twitter. And then he writes for Stadium Chinatown, and that Twitter handle is STDM for Stadium, STDM_Chinatown. Make sure you give him a follow on both. Thanks, everyone. That was kind of cool. It was obviously important to cover the game, to cover Steven Stamkos surpassing the 500 goal mark, to cover the tribute to Gino Ojek, but I also thought this would be a wonderful time now that the skate has officially been freed. I thought it was a wonderful time to bring on the guy who's basically leading the charge. And I think you could tell Trent has had a lot of fun with it. He doesn't take himself too seriously. Maybe that's why we get along so well. But I was grateful to have him on and just have him articulate that why it was important to him and all the things that he saw over the past 3 or 4 months. So thank you to all of you for joining me tonight. If you want more Canucks talk, where I'll talk a little bit more about the game, a little bit less about Free the Skate, but I'll still talk about the Canucks. I have my own show every weeknight at 11 p.m. Pacific. I know it's a little late for you people not in our time zone, but if anyone else, you want to join me, I'll be popping on in half an hour on my own channel, Canuck Clay, for some more post-game coverage. So thanks again to all of you for joining us tonight. Make sure on your way out that you subscribe to SDPN, this channel. Make sure that you like this video. If you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure you rate and review. Thanks to everyone who joined us in the chat. Thanks again to Trent Leith for joining me tonight. And my next game over isn't for a little while. Actually, I don't think I'm on until Friday the 27th against Columbus. So I think pretty sure it's Sam that has the next 2 games, unless Kai has one of them. But Colorado's on Friday. I'm sure Sam will want to do that. Colorado's your favorite team. And then I can't remember if it's Sam or Kaya on Saturday when the Canucks host the Oilers. But I do know, I'm pretty confident that it is indeed Sam this Friday when the Canucks host the Colorado Avalanche. So once again, thanks to all of you. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of the night and have a really good Thursday tomorrow. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. And do you guys know the best thing about only having your right arm and your right leg? You've got nothing left to lose. Take care and go Canucks go. Good night, everyone.